doing the Improv. There's one at the Hollywood, what is it, the Seminole Casino, where, the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood, Florida, where Anna Nicole Smith died. And they go, yeah, come on in, like, we'll fly you. And you go, great, I'm going to do that one and the West Palm Beach Improv back to back. And then I realized, like, as I'm getting off the plane, oh my God, they're taking me to the Hard Rock. I can't stay at the Hard Rock if I'm performing there, and you're going to be performing for like 500 people a night, and then what? Go to the pool and be surrounded by those people, like, and just enjoy a nice quiet day by the pool. Like, somehow you put me up in Florida, the one place that doesn't have fucking water. You put me up in a cement enclosed, like the Inland Empire of it's close to Miami. But then Joel, the guy down there, put us up someplace great, and then the West Palm Beach is huge. That improv's great, but I would take the dog out. I would get picked up for the show at about 7:30, so I would take the dog for a walk at 7, and just like grown people, just coming down A1A, screaming, drunk,
already wasted at 7.
Bro, it was a problem. Like, these people were you have never been in an elevator with a sober person in Miami. They are fucked. You just hit the elevator button, and it's like, you're like, I'll take the next one. The next one opens. Fuck you, motherfucker. I don't give a shit. I'll kick your ass. Crazy, bro. And I'll be back there in March, so I'm fired up. You got to get in with these casinos. You got to do like a little more, some Borgata, some East Coast. You got to go bang them out.
I'd love to.
You got to get a rep, son. Get a representative.
I like that that I like hearing you say that you would root for the Ravens if you weren't for the Jets.
Bro, I do root for the Ravens.
Your defense is being molded right after ours. I mean, Rex Ryan was us forever.
Rex Ryan's weird because he goes from the corners in. Most guys go from the trenches out. Rex goes from the corners in. But the problem is Antonio Cromartie, it's like having a third grader on the field. Like, he's so stupid.
I couldn't get over Hard Knocks when he couldn't remember his kids' names.
Antonio Cromartie has 8 kids by 8 women.
Yep.
And on Hard Knocks on HBO, when they had the Jets, they said, wow, you got 8 kids. What are their names? And he's like, Deshaun, Latrell, the girl, the baby girl. And he just skipped over her.
He got through like 3 and then he just went, remember.
He said the baby and the girl.
And
like
the new one.
The baby girl. It's unbelievable. And then he went to Florida State. This is a guy that got a free ride for 4 years at Florida State. And this is the bane of my existence. Not really, but this is like my rallying cry and especially when I host like Jim Rome. Like, these guys cannot read Curious fucking George, and they're going to fucking University of Texas on a free ride. You know how much I would love if my son Jackie got a call from Florida State and they said, you're a smart kid and you're a nice guy, and we think you're really onto something, the way you love science and stuff. How'd you like to go to Florida State how'd you like to go to Ole Miss? I don't even know anything about Ole Miss, but something about the name, you go, wow, he's going to Ole Miss. Like, if your neighbor said to you, like, yeah, and then I got another boy, he goes to UCLA, and you're like, ho-hum, hear that every day, and my oldest goes to Ole Miss, you'd be like, wait a minute, what do you mean, Ole Miss? Like, it's just something about it is very southern. My boy, and you know it's respectable. My boy, Meredith, and my other boy, Shirley. I got 3 boys, Shirley, Meredith, and Marion, and they all go to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
And my boy with a boy name go to Florida State with the Negras. But how much would you love? How much? It just surprised him, that's all. How much would you love it? Like, all right. On Twitter, you'll see guys that go to like that was my Lyndon Johnson impression. You'll see guys on Twitter that like can't spell there or to the right way. Like Shaq went to LSU for free. Louisiana State University. Prestigious. And he can't spell there the right way. He's like, well, that's their opinion. T-H-E-I-R. T-H-E-R-E. I want some of that too, T.O.
I like how if you call somebody out on that on Twitter, you're the dick.
Oh, grammar police.
Yeah. Like,
but I would love it. Like, and people, the argument is, people say all the time, they go, yeah, but your son's not going to fill stadiums every Saturday. I'm like, yes, but when my son leaves Florida State, he's going to be a much more intrinsic member of society with his work in the field of medicine than a guy that had fucking 4 interceptions and took one to the house in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And now afterwards has a goddamn car wash in the Bronx.
And when your son's done filling stadiums, they're not going to remember his ass anyway.
No.
Ever.
No one's in Florida. No one's in Tallahassee going, God, where's Danny Werfel? What's he doing?
God.
Love him.
Yeah, that's a name I haven't heard.
See?
Yeah.
Charlie Ward. Oh, man. Good old Charlie.
Well, he played for
the Knicks
for a while.
He was so good at football, he got drafted into the NBA.
Yep.
Not tall enough to play NFL football, but tall enough to be a point guard in the NBA for 14 years. He was best quarterback in New York for a little while.
He was.
When he was running the Knicks. It was it was horrible. It was like Browning Nagel was on the Jets. And like, who's the douche? I think he was a Bachelor. He was Jesse Palmer or somebody on the Giants. I forget. I think it was pre-Palmer. It was bad though.
Was it? And you got the best quarterback playing for the Knicks.
Yeah, backup. $6 million a year to back up Greg Anthony. Yeah.
I'm glad to have the Ravens because Orioles have sucked for a long time. So it's nice to have a competitive squad in the city.
You think the Orioles will suck this year?
Orioles are definitely going to suck this year. They went out and they did nothing.
Jeremy Guthrie, veteran of Mohr Stories, said after the podcast, I got to get my website's being revamped. So for everybody that thinks my website's from 1993, A, you're right. B, I never updated because all I got to do is put my dates up. I don't see the need for us to have like tricky entrances and exits from the, find the owl in the tree games. I just want you to be able to go to jmohr.com and go, oh, he's going to be a Foxwoods and he's going to be whatever. But I'm updating it now, but Jeremy got, because really what I want to do is I want to be able to post blogs of what happens when the mics turn off. A lot of neat conversations happen. And there's a blog, I'll put a blog up on my website now and people comment on it, but I can't go on my website and comment on their comments.
Got it.
So I want that. I want to be I want it to be my Twitter.
Right.
jmohr.com. You go there and tell me stuff and I answer you. Because like Jeremy Guthrie, right when the mics went off, we started riding him pretty hard, like about where number 46. That was Mike Flanagan's number. And I know you know, but I got to slow it down for everybody else. Mike Flanagan died in the middle of last year. And me and Frosty, my boy Matt Frost, were saying, yeah, that's kind of weird, man. Of course, and he led the league in losses 2 years in a row. And we're going, you know why? It's because you're going up on the mound wearing a dead guy's number. Like, that's Flanagan's number. And he's like, really? Because baseball players, you can spook. It's like, they're like thoroughbreds. You just clap your hands in front of their eyes, and they're like, ah, ah. They're like Rain Men. And he goes, really? And we go, yeah, like, you got to get rid of that number. You're never going to get a winning season. And then Frosty goes, what's your favorite number? And he goes, without thinking, like, just tell me. And he goes, 15. And Frosty knows everybody's number. And Frosty goes, there's no 15 on the Orioles. And he goes, our bullpen catcher, but that's not like a roster spot. And we're like, you gotta change your number. And he swore on a Bible in the hotel, a Mormon Bible, by the way.
He is a Mormon.
In the hotel room, and it was in the drawer, a Gideon Bible, a Bible of Latter-day Saints. He swore on that he was going to change his number next year. He's going to go out on the hill on opening day as number 15. So then we spent the next half hour delaying our exit from his hotel room because we're just faking going to take a piss, and we're writing little 15s on the walls of his hotel room all over the place. So, like, if he's taking a shit, he can just see a little, like, if not like big, but an inch high in pen or pencil, and both. And he said he was going to change his number, and then I set him up for that joke. He ended that podcast by saying, I said, a lot of Baltimore guys listen to this. Dan Godfrey from the Irvine Improv and comedian Ryan Sickler. And he goes, Ryan Sickler, he's the worst comedian in the world.
Yeah,
Credits.
I heard that.
And then we just
Thanks. I appreciate that. I'll say this, because we're comics, you bust balls, I'm fine with that. But for Guthrie to actually go along with it, let me tell you, I'm calling you out, Guts. You had a 4.33 ERA last year, and you went 9-17 on the last place team in the AL East. In my last 26 performances, I'm about 22-4. I just went 6-0 in Irvine with Jay Mohr this weekend. When's the last time you went 6-0, Guts? I'm calling you out on it. I think you shouldn't be shitting on Oriole fans.
You got the ERA wrong, though.
No, 4.33. Look it up.
You look it up.
I did. I'm a fan, man.
He is a great guy. What's fun?
I love Guthrie.
I was surprised he went along with it because he wouldn't go. He wouldn't swear. He wouldn't go along with anything else.
Yeah.
When I said, and he was very funny when I go, when they're not hitting because he's not a bad pitcher.
No, Guthrie's a damn good pitcher. I feel like he'd be a great number. We talked about it. A great number 3 on the Yankees
or on the Dodgers. It'd be like Kershaw, Billingsley, Kuroda, Guthrie. Like that'd be a tight rotation. Here, look at this. Right away, 4-3-3.
4-3-3, Guthrie.
Yeah, you know what, Jeremy? I thought you were in the threes.
Yeah,
you suck.
You do suck, and I wasn't a first-round pick, Guthrie.
Twice.
Yeah.
That was a great story, how he brought his dad's brick cell phone to class because he knew he was going to get drafted. But I was like, if you're not going to use it to get chicks, he wouldn't swear.
Yeah, he's. I heard him say he wouldn't do it. He doesn't do it.
He's fun as hell. Right after that podcast, him and Matt Frost went on Lexington Avenue and Boulevard. What a LA jerk I am. Lexington Boulevard. Him and Matt Frost went downstairs in Lexington Avenue, and it was about midnight, and they threw the baseball about like a block length from like 45th to 46th, because Frosty played crazy baseball, and they just aired that ball out between 45th and 46th Street. It was crazy. Dude, cars are coming, and they're just those, and you're like, I don't know if you should be out here, Guth.
I like Guthrie. I do. I think he's a great pitcher. He's an innings eater. The guy is a professional. He wouldn't cuss, but he had no problem shitting on Ryan Sickler. Thanks, Guthrie.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No, not now.
You're single right now?
Right now.
How does a guy like you, like, what do you do? You go out, do you hustle it? Are you out looking, or you just wait for it to fall in your lap?
Nah, it's not
Craigslist?
It's really not that hard.
Swingers? Men and women?
I've never been online. I meet some cute girls at shows, go out, you know.
It's hard to meet girls at shows.
It's hard to meet.
People think, like, oh, you got it, you're all set. Like, you do a show, and it flies at you. But here's what people don't understand.
They have no idea I have like 600 Twitter followers. Never been heard of.
Let's go old school. Let's go complete basics. You say goodnight and walk this way, they walk that way. Now, unless you are a crazy person and run from your green room and loop around the outside of the club and meet them and let 300 other people go, hey, how you doing? I saw you at my show. Yeah. Like, you're now hitting on a girl in front of 300 witnesses who know that you had to double time that shit to get from backstage to the front of the room. And everyone's like, hey, can I get a picture? And you're like, not now. No, just you. No, I never have done this before, ever. And they're all with dates and shit. Like, you got to weed out, like, who, and then like, oh my God, she's with that guy. Like, well, then who's behind her? Hey, how you doing? I saw you at my show. It's horrible.
But I know you're a married man, but come on. The women in Irvine are just, it's out of control.
I just see a giant room full of people.
Come on.
I'm never one-on-one.
You don't ever see them walking out or leave. I mean, God.
Think about it. I get there at 6:30 for the 7 o'clock show. And then when I get off stage at the 11 o'clock show, it's 12:30.
Yeah.
And they're out. And by that time, they are so drunk. I don't want to see anybody after the third show because nothing's good going to happen.
Yeah, there were a few crazy.
Hey, you should come out with us, Dave and Buster's. Dave and Buster's is Chuck E. Cheese for grown-ups.
That's where they kept trying to get everybody to go, Dave and Buster's.
Dave and Buster's really is missing the boat without having a ball pit. Dave and Buster's should have a ball pit.
An adult ball pit?
Yeah. It's Chuck E. Cheese for adults. And I said that to my wife, and she goes, fuck that. Chuck E. Cheese is Chuck E. Cheese for adults. Every time you bring your kid there, you're always like, where's Dad?
You could drink beer there.
Skee ball.
I love skee ball.
I love it too.
I'll challenge you on the air right now to a skee ball.
Done. My favorite game at Chuck E. Cheese, and the first time I ever played it, was the Cleveland Improv. Is at the Powerhouse in Cleveland, is across the hallway from a massive arcade. And they have that arcade game. You stand on a platform and you lower a helmet onto your head. What? And you just have like gun turrets. And like you're in like a pillbox from the visual.
Yeah.
So if you're just walking by, you just see a guy just turning his head.
I've seen that in a window. That's what that is.
It's incredible.
So you're seeing something going on. And I'm just watching you do this.
Yeah. But guys are coming up the beach and they're coming up the beach and then you turn, you go, oh my God, they're right next to me. And you just got to gun people down right next to you. Like, it's crazy. And when we went in there, we were this is probably a good decade ago. We were so high. Bro, you couldn't peel me out of that helmet. It was like 5 a.m. They're like, no, you don't understand. Like, we have to open for like real people. I'm like, just let them in. Let them in. Airstrikes.
I'm storming the beaches of Normandy.
No, I'm on the beach. They're storming the beaches. The enemy is storming your beach.
And you're shooting them.
Yeah, and you got like air to surface to air missiles, but you only got like 8 of them, so you got to be real. You know, you can't just be solicitous with those. You got to like time them out. when it really means. And sometimes sometimes they get too close, and you use a surface to air missile just because there's like 14 guys right next to you, and you just hit the button and duck like fuck them. Ah! PBR Street Gang, this is Mother Goose. Dump all your remaining firepower within my compound. It's a hell of a fucking war.